Let's highlight some players in the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a.k.a. JSN, absolutely smoked the combine, placing number 1 for wide receivers in both the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle. He spent most of 2022 injured, but he had a monster 2021 season with 123.54 yards per game. He was number 3 in college football with 1,606 receiving yards, tied for number 9 with 95 receptions. He went off in the Rose Bowl with 347 yards. First-round talent with the chance to be a team's wide receiver 1, slot wide receiver, but big fantasy football implications. He's my wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 2 in this class is going to be Jordan Addison, who didn't have a phenomenal combine, but he's another guy that had a monster 2021 season like JSN. That year, he was number 4 in receiving yards, 1,592, number 6 in receptions with 100, and he tied for number 1 in receiving touchdowns with 17. Although his production at USC in 2022 didn't match his production at Pitt in 2021, I feel like that big season can be an indicator of what his usage can be like in the NFL. And then my wide receiver 3, Quentin Johnson out of TCU. He was top 3 at the combine in both the vertical jump and the broad jump. This man's got hops. In 2022, he was number 22 in receiving yards with 1,069, 60 catches, 6 touchdowns, 4 games over 130 receiving yards, and he played in the College Football National Championship. This guy's got the athletic, physical traits of a downfield threat, a wide receiver with upside for fantasy. Then we have Bijan Robinson, the clear-cut running back 1 of this draft class, labeled by many as a generational running back. In 2022, he had 157.83 yards per game, 1,580 rushing yards paired with 314 receiving yards, 19 catches, and 20 total touchdowns. In today's NFL, it seems like the workhorse running back is fading, but this guy has the build and the skill set to be a true workhorse running back in the NFL with massive dynasty fantasy football implications. Jahmyr Gibbs is my running back 2 of the class out of Alabama, 4.36 40 at the combine. In 2022, he averaged 114.17 yards per game, 926 rushing yards paired with 444 receiving yards, 44 catches, 10 total touchdowns. Pass-catching dual-threat running backs are huge for PPR leagues and fantasy. This guy screams that. Zach Charbonnet, RB3 in this class for me out of UCLA, 1,137 and then 1,359 rushing yards the last 2 seasons. In 2022, he was actually 4th in the FBS with 6.9 yards per carry. Big bump in his receiving yards from 2021 to 2022 with 321 this past season. He had 37 catches in that, 13 and then 14 scrimmage touchdowns the last 2 years. Charbonnet could be looked at as a third down pass blocking and pass catching option that can eventually grow into a more solidified running back role. Then I want to talk about Michael Mayer, tight end, 1 for me out of Notre Dame, still post-combine. Mayer's 4.7 40-yard dash time had some knocks from the combine, but we've seen guys like Pat Freiermuth and Dalton Schultz be above 4.7 and be good NFL pass-catching tight ends, which is what this guy has been the past 2 seasons at Notre Dame. He's had 71 and 67 catches, 840 and 809 receiving yards, 7 and 9 touchdowns the last 2 years. I truly think being a guy that can be an effective run and pass blocker as well as a pass catcher, Michael Mayer is going to translate well as a tight end in the NFL.